Hello, this is Katie. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if it's your first time. This is day 8 of Video Every Day in October, and I'm going to be using this Clearly Besotted set. It's called Feeling Frightful, and I looked up the set to see if it was still available to purchase, and also because I wasn't 100% sure it was Clearly Besotted, and I found it, and I was like, I wasn't at home near this, and so I was like, that doesn't look like I remember, but it's close enough. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But it turns out I was right because they updated it. They pulled a, like, my favorite things with the Which Way is the Candy? Like, they made it better and more. So I'm going to link the new one down below. I bought this a very long time ago, and the new one is way better, and now I'm kind of annoyed that I have the old one. So there's that. But if you want this, but more and a little better, the link is down below. I'm going to be doing some masking. I had a crafty friend suggest that for today because I was asking for suggestions based on stamp sets that I had shown you in my Halloween collection video. And she saw this one. So what I'm going to do is just straight onto a card base. So it'll be a 1-layer card, and we're going to be doing some masking. I have my Post-it, like full stick Post-it. It's sticky except for the strip so that you can lift it up for the masking portion, which is why I got that. And then the sentiment, these don't really go with Halloween, so the Hope You Feel Better Soon or I Hear You're Feeling Frightful doesn't really work. I'm going to do the shelf of the jars, and I'm going to do from Costume Party, Hope Your Halloween is Magical. So I'm going to set that aside till we're ready. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount up, let's see, mount up the jar. I don't have a die set for these. I actually don't know if Clearly Besotted does dies for their stamps. And if they do, if there's a die set for the newer version of these. I'm gonna do the brain. Let's see. What am I looking at here? That fits inside, right? Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna put the brain. I do not like spiders, so I'm gonna do, I think I'm gonna try and fit 3 jars with the masking, because I don't know how long this is going to be. If I put each jar at the end, then I feel like there's going to be some overlapping. Like there's not enough room to fit 3 side by side. So I think what I'll do is stamp the middle one first. We'll go through kind of like how masking works if you haven't done that before. Stamp the middle one first and then do the 2 side ones with our mask over the middle one. Hopefully that makes sense. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. I'm going to... This was a pre-folded card I already had, but I want it to sit down even more. I'm not going to do this in my Misty. I'm just going to do this freehanding it on acrylic blocks. So let's hope we get enough ink on them the first time. So I will do the shelf in the middle. And then I'm just going to have to eyeball this one. What you can also do, I don't think I'm going to label them, but if you were going to mask to get a label on there, I'll show you this as well. Like if you didn't want to cut out the jar label and put it on top of your image as a separate piece of paper, I might need to put my head over this. We're in the middle. That was pretty good. You would stamp your label now in the middle at this point, and then you would stamp another one of these onto your masking paper or your Post-it, cut that out to the edge. So cut exactly along the black lines, cut that out and then stick it over where you stamped. And then you could go and take like your worms and stamp your worms over that and then peel up where you put the masking Post-it over the label. And then you'd have your worms behind your label, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to do spooky stuff. I'm already going to have words with the sentiment. I don't want to add words on the label. This one has a number: worms, eyeballs, bugs, things like that. My third thing, I don't like roaches either. I guess we'll do worms. These stamps are very sticky. They must be a very good photopolymer. So in the middle, I think, sorry, that was loud. I think I'll do the brain. And this way, since I'm only single stamping, I don't have to worry about giving it too much time to, I mean, I do, you know, you don't get as crisp of an image when it's not in your platform and you're not doing stamping twice, but then I don't have to give it so much extra time for the ink to dry before I can color it in so that my ink doesn't bleed at all. So what you want to do, and you really don't even need to ink it up again, but you can just use whatever ink is left on your stamp for the mask. And then we're going to cut out, and it's really just the sides that matter, but like I don't need to worry about cutting on the lid because we're just going to go over the sides since they're going to be next to each other. So I'm going to cut just about there. I can leave a tab along the top for peeling that back up. Okay. So then I'll go ahead and put this right over where that jar is. And then we'll stamp. Actually, they would be like right next to each other, but I think we'll do this. Just so they overlap a little bit. Still trying to make sure that lines up okay. Okay, that works. So I still want to stamp our worms. The Post-it stuck to me. The worms in the jar. And the eyeballs. I can also stamp this off to get kind of a better grip if it's a stamp set you haven't used in a while, or if it's the first time. You can stamp it off onto scrap paper first. And then, again, on your paper there. So then, once we peel that up, so we have a little bit overlapping. I could have technically fit 3 across. I guess it's the right size. But then once you peel that up, you've got a jar in front. And if you do have something like this, where you only stamped once and you're only able to keep that one stamp, you can use a really fine pen. Like I have micron pens. 005. The smallest one that I have is the 005. It's very, very fine. And then you can just go over some of those lines and you can color over it a lot quicker than you probably would waiting for ink to dry. So just some of those lines that need a little more attention. Sorry, my eyeballs are kind of asleep. So just a little help there. And then we'll put the sentiment below it. Let's see. Magical. I'm going to use I'll clean this in a minute. The block that I had the shelf on. Try and keep that straight. Oh, didn't work out very well. I don't know why that doesn't want to be that straight. It's usually best to just let it be natural. That works. And make sure I have enough ink on that. And just center that. And there we go. And then you can color it in with whatever you'd like. I'm going to use my Tri-Blends. I think the Fair-Skin blend is probably closest to Brain Matter color. Let me zoom in a little bit. I don't actually know what color brains are supposed to be, but since it's kind of hard to do some shading in here, I'm just going to do some markings and then use the mid color. I'm trying not to go over the lines too much in case I do smear some of the ink from the pad. And then the lightest on this one is almost a little too light, like it's a really, really pale yellow. It sometimes doesn't even work that well in the blend, but I'll just leave some lighter portions there. And then I imagine that some of the goo that it's sitting in might be green. So I think I will do a blend for that. This looks a little dark, but hopefully I can lighten it up with the other shades. And then I'm not sure at that point what color the bubbles would be. Maybe I'll find a light green Copic to fill those in. Let's see, or maybe like a bright one. I really like Salad, the Salad Copic YG05. So maybe I'll fill it in just so it's a different kind of green. I don't think it really matters, but that helps it stand out a little more. Just so you're not coloring in the bubbles with the light end of this. One of them can be blue. I'm gonna do green. Let's see. Blue, aqua blue. No. We'll do green turquoise blend. So we'll use this green for the worms. And I think I'll do some sort of like a gray for the lid so it looks silver instead of just going with black. There's not a whole lot of color. I guess there's some kind of amongst the worms. That was probably a piece of worm and not goo. Oh well. I'm going to color in the holes of what I think where the liquid would be. I'm trying to tell it apart from the worms here. And then we'll do that. So then I'm going to use a, let's see, I'm looking at my color chart in front of me. I think the, let's use red brown blend. Where are you? Red, there it is. And then try and do some shading on these. So I'll go through their middles and then make some of their ends a little lighter. The mid blend on this one is pretty close, if not darker at times, than the dark end of the blend, but that's okay. Some of these mixes don't really make sense, but I'm also coloring in a very small area. Okay, and then for the eyeballs, I'm gonna grab random colors of Copics in front of me for the eye color, because that's creepy. BG15, let's do a G16, and let's do an orange, YR07, and a bright yellow, Y08, and then a pink. We'll do RV13, and then how about a purple? I'm gonna use a purple blend. All of my paintbrushes are in front of my purple section of Copics. So we will use, that's not too dark, the dark end of the purple blend. And then just usually when I go or want to do like kind of an off-white, but I want to put some color there, I'll pick a 0 gray Copic and just kind of maybe not color it in entirely, but to give it that not completely white shade. I think I have a C0, I have the N0. I don't know if I have any other gray zeros. Let's see, for the other, I'm gonna use Citrus Green Blend for the last jar goo. I think the middle one was the dull green, and then I used the green turquoise blend. And there are still spaces between the eyeballs we can color into. Okay. So then for the lids, I'm gonna do the brown gray blend, which is a lighter brown gray, and then I also have to color in the shelf. So I'll use the full 3-color blend on all 3 of these jars. And then, let's see, brown gray blend. I'm not sure where I had that hiding. Maybe that needs to go. Nope, I don't know where that was. For the shelf, I want to use Tan Shades. It's my favorite dark brown out of the Tri-Blends. The other one is a really good brown, the Earth Brown shades, but they all kind of blend together. So it kind of becomes all the same shade. Like you can't really tell it's got like a gradient from one shade to another, if that makes sense. This one really comes through on the light color. You can tell the difference. And then because I had that darker color where my shelf or my jar kind of hung over the shelf where I stamped it, then you can kind of get rid of that with the dark marker. But let's see. So super simple card. The other option is to, and I don't know if it's near me right now, but you could use glossy accents glue and it'll dry clear. So you could put that over all of the jars. You could even do it separately and wait for them to dry. So I would do one jar at a time, maybe the middle one and then the two sides, and have it dry clear. And then once it dries, do this one so they actually look physically separate as well. But I think putting glossy accents over that would be awesome as well. So super simple card, and it does bleed through a little bit, but you can put cardstock on the inside. And yeah, and that's it. Thank you for watching day 8, and I will see you guys tomorrow for day 9. Bye.